This is Retirement Keys with Anthony Congemi from Crescent City Retirement Group. When a part of your financial strategy is out of tune, your long-term goals, your retirement savings, and your legacy can all suffer. With many years of experience in the financial industry, Anthony provides his clients and prospects with the information they need regarding Social Security, retirement income planning, wealth management, and much more. Listen in as we address your financial concerns and provide helpful solutions to put you on the path to achieving your retirement goals. And now, here is Retirement Keys with your host, Anthony Congemi.
All right, welcome to another show of Retirement Keys. My name's Anthony Congemi. We have our fabulous co-host with us today, Mr. Tony Shore, and we have a good show for you this morning. We're really looking forward to really a great show and some good information as it relates to retirement planning. But before we get started, I'd like to again introduce our great co-host, Mr. Tony Shore. Tony, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Oh, Anthony, great to be here with you, and it's great to see you today. We're going to be putting this up and clips from the show up on YouTube.
Yes,
so our listeners can also be viewers now. I think that's fantastic, but it's great. I've been so busy. I cannot believe pro football preseason has already started. I mean, I can't believe we're almost to fall already. I mean, where did the summer go?
Well, good riddance as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it was so hot.
Oh, my goodness. You know, and the other day, I think it might have been yesterday morning, the morning before, there was a little bit of breeze out there.
Oh, yeah.
But there was, and I was telling my kids, I said, oh, wow, look, fall is in the air, and it really isn't. I mean, it was still 100 degrees, but it was, I guess I was just, but I really am looking forward to the fall, the summers are so hot here.
Yeah, it's brutal. And this one especially, right? I mean, it's been unseasonably, just more, it seems like it anyway.
It really has. But, maybe we're just all getting a little older,
That's true. The heat gets to us a little more, too, as we age, probably. I mean, I'm not aging.
No,
I just want to
really
point
not.
that out. I don't age. You know that, Anthony.
Right. Yeah. What is your secret there, Tony?
Well, a lot of people think I'm younger than I am, and I tell everyone it's my immaturity. It throws people off.
Yeah. I mean, when you're, I think that there's something to that, actually. I mean, when you get older, sometimes we just take life too seriously.
Yeah.
And, sometimes you just need to, let things happen the way they need to happen. Enjoy your life. Sometimes we can just overthink things or take things a little too seriously. And then, of course, that's not good either. So, look, keeping that childlike spirit, I think is good medicine.
Yeah, I think it is too. And I think you make a great point there. Now, I know we're going to be talking today about things, mistakes, 13 mistakes that people could avoid that might have a negative effect on their legacy to have a positive effect on their legacy by avoiding these 13 mistakes, Anthony. So where do you want to start? What's the first common misstep that you want to talk about that our listeners out there should avoid that could impact their legacy?
Yeah, absolutely, Tony. So, as you know, in our retirement plans, estate and legacy planning is one of the key elements to any sound retirement plan. And so we're going to be drilling down on the first element, which is estate and legacy planning. So today's show is about legacy planning and the 13 common mistakes that could impact your legacy. And so the very first one, Tony, is just simply failing to plan. And, the article that I want to send out to our listeners starts to talk about the biggest mistake you can possibly make when it comes to estate and legacy planning is just simply not making the time to do it.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's something too many of us put off. It's easy to put it off. We don't want to think about it. But, one of the things that I've found, Tony, when we talk about the 5 keys to a stress-free retirement. And obviously, that's our objective, is to have a retirement where all of your, ducks are in a row. You have all of the no stone left unturned, and estate and legacy planning, even though it's not something that we want to think about day to day or
Right.
is always on our mind, in the back of our mind, we do recognize that it's important. And, if we get it taken care of and we get it out of the way, it's not something that has to be continually talked about or considered unless there's some change that needs to be made. But my point is, once you get it out of the way, it really does, because we do talk about that stress-free retirement, and it is a piece of our retirement planning that we all know is important, and we all know that it needs to be done. So it's kind of like, just get it out of the way, get it done, and it really can help with a overall harmonious retirement because, again, you have all the pieces in place for a sound retirement. So it's just one of those things, Tony, that really doesn't enhance your life per se, but it does give you the peace of mind knowing that if and when something were to happen and we were to transition into the next realm here, wherever, we're going next, right?
Right.
That we've taken care of our earthly possessions, our estate, and we're not leaving a mess behind, Tony.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing. You don't want to leave your loved ones in a bad situation. You don't want to create family disharmony. And that's what's going to happen
Correct.
if you fail to plan. You've seen it happen with families who haven't properly planned that have come to you after the fact. And I've seen it with my own family when my grandfather passed. You have to have a plan in place. You have to be working with somebody like yourself, a financial advisor who's going to be looking at the big picture, working alongside an estate planning attorney to make sure you have all the ducks in a row. And that's a big one. So number one, obviously, failing to plan is the number one mistake people make. But what's another big one that you've seen people make as far as estate planning and legacy planning is concerned?
Yeah. So another big one, Tony, is going to be really not discussing your estate plan and your wishes with your family.
Yeah.
So many times people they don't include, now with that said, I guess it depends on the dynamics, of the family, but and a lot of times, the kids appreciate, the family appreciates being involved, especially when it comes to personal items, things that you want to happen, things that you want, let's say heirlooms or things that, mean something to you on a personal level. You may want these things to go in a certain direction or to a certain person. Maybe you want to set up some accounts and some inheritance for grandkids, and you have to involve whoever that might be that would be looking over those assets, trustees and the like. So, a lot of times, depending on the estate plan, a lot of times involving certain family members is important, and it can also shed some clarity on how you want things to go. So, ultimately, it really is a good idea to have an estate plan and have family members, key family members, if you will, involved in some of the decisions that you're making. So it's really a personal thing, Tony. The whole estate and legacy planning is really personal. And it can be emotionally charged if it's not handled correctly.
Yeah.
And so at the end of it, I would say I have clients that have taken care of their estate and legacy planning, and they've done things the way they want them. and they really haven't involved the family, but they've got things very orderly. And then I have other clients that have had their kids involved or grandkids, whoever might be inheriting, and that's worked out real well also. So it really is part of the family, depending on the family dynamics there. But, at the end of it, having a well-documented estate plan can really go a long way, as you said earlier, to just maintain harmony and fairness to the heirs.
Yes, that is the bottom line right there, Anthony. And I have a personal story to share that really illustrates this. My grandfather, who lived to 101, my grandpa Bob,
Oh, wow.
when he passed away, he had a farm and he has 4 children. My dad, his 2 brothers and sister. They were a tight-knit family, always got along, loving family. They loved each other. We always got together. But my grandfather passed. His will was a mess. He wasn't working with an attorney that specialized in estate planning.
Yeah.
He didn't have a financial advisor like yourself. And he did not communicate. That generation, he just didn't talk about money ever with anyone or discuss his finances. And so what happened is he appointed one of the kids as the custodian or the executor of the will,
right?
And because this attorney wasn't very good and didn't specialize in estate planning, and because he appointed the youngest son as the executor and communicated with him, but none of the other 3. Now, after he passes, things were a mess. Not everything was clear, right. and 2 of the brothers aren't speaking to each other anymore.
Yeah.
And that's family,
unfortunate.
But that's exactly why we're talking about what we are. And it is unfortunate. But if he had been working with you and an estate planning attorney and had communicated it, not discussing it with family and friends is such a crucial mistake. You don't want to leave your family in a bad situation or create disharmony after you're gone. And my grandfather never would have wanted that. That wasn't his intention at all. And he would have done everything in his power had he just realized, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I do. And it isn't unfortunate, and it certainly wasn't his intention. And, I tell you, I bet everybody, Tony, that's listening to us, or the majority of people that are hearing us right now, could probably think in their own minds about whether it be a family situation or someone they know that has experienced disharmony in a family because of someone passing away, and then there wasn't some clear, direction on how things are to go. Somebody passed away. I know it's common because, I see it, I've seen it many, many times over and over, how you have disgruntled family and they're not talking to each other. Cause we have a lot of clients and we talk to a lot of people, and it's very common. It's very common. And at the end of the day, I don't think any of us want that. Nobody wants that.
And it doesn't have to be that way.
No.
There are ways to avoid it. And I know that you and a good estate planning attorney can help avoid that. And if our listeners out there want a recommendation, I know you work with estate planning attorneys and know them and have for years helping your clients out. So that's good. So we've hit the first couple. What's the third mistake that people make when it comes to estate planning?
Well, it talks about not naming just one beneficiary. Right. And let me just back up and say there's only really 2 ways assets transfer. One, by the will, so going through succession, or in a lot of states they call it probate, which, let's just say probate or succession is just the retitling of an asset. So if I have a boat in my name and I pass away, it's got to come out of my name and go into someone else's name. And that's got to go through this succession process. Okay. So it needs to be retitled. The other way that assets transfer very efficiently, I might add, is by beneficiary designation. So a trust can have beneficiaries, an annuity, your IRA, retirement plans, life insurance. These are all examples of assets that can transfer by beneficiary designation. Now, what's efficient about that is it doesn't have to go through probate. Those assets go to the designated beneficiary.
Right.
So it's efficient. Okay. But now what the point that this document is making, not just naming one beneficiary, is, I would think, a very clear point. If you have other beneficiaries, or if you have other people that are inheriting from you, the idea here is that you would just name one person as the beneficiary and then hope that they, dole out the assets according to your wishes. And, obviously, I don't think that's a good idea.
Right.
For more than one reason. I mean, there may be tax implications to these assets that are going to that one beneficiary. So, and then you're, depending on this one beneficiary to carry your wishes out and transfer assets to the other folks that, that's just not a good idea. For assets that have designated beneficiaries or a beneficiary form, you want to make sure those forms are filled out correctly. You want to make sure that all of the folks that you want to inherit that asset, their names are on the form, the percentage of what they're supposed to be getting is on the form. If they have kids and they were to predecease you, you want to make sure that the appropriate language is on the form. So if they predecease you, you don't disinherit, let's say, their kids or the grandkids. So the beneficiary form is a very powerful form. It takes that asset and it puts it directly in possession of the designated beneficiary. It avoids probate. It avoids succession. So it's a very efficient way to transfer assets, but they have to be filled out correctly.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. You have to have those contingent beneficiaries on there. A lot of people skip that step or don't do that, and they don't update their beneficiary designations. And life changes, life happens. You make sure they're updated. Look at that every year and make sure you update those. Now, what's number 4? What's another reason?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we think of estate planning documents, we think of, wills, we think of beneficiary designations, we think of living wills, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But we also, Tony, we don't want to overlook power of attorneys, durable power of attorneys that handle financial and healthcare directives. So your power of attorney is an essential document, estate planning document, where if you're not able to act in your stead, if you're in a situation, maybe you're in the hospital or maybe you've had some kind of a health issue and you're not able to make decisions, whether it be financial decisions or medical decisions. And then that person, Tony, whoever that might be, it could be a spouse, it could be, a child, a good friend, whoever that person is, Tony, that would be at your side if you were unable to make good, rational decisions for yourself, for whatever reason. If that person, and we all have that person in our life, incidentally, you can think right now, if I found myself in a situation where I needed, someone else to make decisions for me, whether it be a financial decision or a medical decision, who would that person be in your life? And we all probably know or have that person in our life. So whoever that person is, the point is this: if they don't have your power of attorney that can handle the medical and financial directives, you have just handicapped, tied their hands. They literally are powerless if they don't have your power of attorney. So this is an estate planning document that we should all have. You can lock it up. You can put it in a safety deposit box, but you need to have it available in case you're not able to make a decision on your own. If you've got some kind of health issue and you need that person to be there and act for you in place of you because you're not able, if they don't have your power of attorney, Tony, their hands are tied.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's tough. Powers of attorney are important. I know that my parents and I took care of that. So I have power of attorney if something should happen to them and if they need it. And it turns out my dad's cognitive abilities have went. So I have to handle his finances and medical power of attorney with my mom as well, who's in long-term care now. So it is important to have that in place. I can attest to that personally. Now, if our listeners have any questions about this, they need to get a full financial plan in place, and really estate planning has to be part of it. How can they get a hold of you, Anthony?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me just say one other quick thing about a power of attorney, and then I'll mention that real quick. Let me just say that if you give your son, daughter, spouse power of attorney, that does not in any way take your abilities away. You're not relinquishing anything in your own. It's just simply if you're unable to act in your own stead, that the power of attorney steps in. It doesn't take anything away from you. But yes, Tony, estate and legacy planning is a big part of retirement planning. As you know, it's one of our keys to a stress-free retirement. And if you are listening and you would like to get an assessment of your retirement plan, and this document in particular, the name of the document is Estate Planning Mistakes and How to Avoid Them, please give our office a call at 504-828-2171. Or just simply go online to crescentcityretirement.com and ask for your copy.
Yeah, and that's huge. Thank you for that, Anthony. And listeners, take that opportunity, pick up the phone, give Anthony and his team there a call at Crescent City Retirement. Now, Anthony, I think we're at number 5. We're talking about critical mistakes people can make when estate planning. What's another one that we should avoid?
So the number 5 on the list, Tony, is forgetting about final arrangements. And again, estate and legacy planning, wills, power of attorneys, living wills, beneficiary designations, and then number 5, final arrangements. This is just all, Tony, really for the ease of your loved ones when you transition, when I transition out. And they are there to, settle our estates and finish our final arrangements and all of this type of thing, that the transition for our families are very smooth. It's already an emotional time. It's already a hard time. So having all of this in place is really just an act of love. And somebody said, really, it's the final love letter that you're going to give to your family is your, final arrangements and having all of that in place.
There are 13 things we want to talk about on this list. We've gotten through about half, and we're going to draw the line here for today's show. And in part 2 next week, when we come back on the air, we're going to have the remaining 6 or 7 items on the list and talk a little bit more about this because it's such a huge topic and there are so many issues that people have and mistakes so many people make. You said it earlier, people, you've seen it over and over again where people have made these mistakes. So we want to help our listeners with that out there. And I know you're anxious to hear from them as well and love to talk to them and help them. So before we go, let our listeners know how they can set up that no charge, no obligation consultation with you and your team there at Crescent City Retirement.
Absolutely. So if you visit us online at Crescent City Retirement Group, there's a link. We can schedule a phone call. We have a retirement resource call. It's right on the front page of the website. You can schedule a phone call. You can call our office at 504-828-2171 or go to crescentcityretirement.com for that link. We also have a retirement workshop coming up in September. We're going to be in Metairie next month at Austin's Steakhouse. It's a Mr. Ed's restaurant. If you're listening and you would like to come to the retirement workshop, we'll be talking about this and other topics as it relates to retirement planning. There's certainly no obligation. We absolutely love that, when our radio audience comes to the live events. So please call our office at 504-828-2171. Let us get you this information. But if you'd like to register for that upcoming event, we'd love to have you. But again, we just appreciate you tuning in, listening to the show, and we really do hope it's bringing some value to you.
Oh, thank you, Anthony. Some great information today. And listeners out there, that does it for today's episode of Retirement Keys with our host, Anthony Congemi. Thank you for listening to Retirement Keys. Don't pay too much for taxes or retire without a sound income plan. For more information, please contact Anthony Congemi at Crescent City Retirement Group. Call 504-828-2171 or visit the website at crescentcityretirement.com.
All matters discussed during the show are for informational purposes only. Each individual situation may vary, and the opinions expressed here may not apply to everyone. Materials presented are believed to be from reliable sources, and no representations can be made as to its accuracy. All ideas and information should be discussed in detail with one of our qualified representatives prior to implementation. We are not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration, the Federal Medicare Program, or any other government agency. Calling this number will direct you to a licensed sales agent.